Once again, working on the 79 Corvette. This time we are putting the interior all back together. Now, we've done several videos now, just tearing the interior apart, cleaning it up, redoing it. So we got the birdcage painted with Pour 15. We cleaned up the wiring in the last video, painted the steering column, if you can see. We've done quite a bit. We've cleaned up all the interior panels as well and the seats. So now it's just time to throw it all in. And as you see, we are pretty bare. So I've already done the small annoying stuff, like hanging up the wiring harness here with these bolts and in the clip-on bracket over there. And I think I have everything sorted. Everything to the point where all we got to do is just put the dash back on. So let's try that. Hopefully it goes smoothly. Well, I got the dash in, and even though it was quick for you, this was a task. And the dashes on these cars get pinched on both sides. It's almost like the dash is too long, and there's not enough room to fit it in. So it started cracking here. I mean, we've had this crack here, but it started spreading up here. And you kind of have to bend the dash to get it to fit in the corners. But since this is so brittle, it just wanted to snap every time you bent it. So I made the decision to just punch off one of the ears that we glued on that fell off originally. So I punched off the passenger side ear. You see in there. And then I just stuck it back in once it fit in. With that ear out, oh, it fit in like a breeze. It's so easy. But with both ears in, it's a struggle. So now we did install a new headlight switch a few videos ago. So we're finalizing that, putting that back into its spot. And I'm also installing a new washer switch. The old one, you'd press it, well, besides of it just looking horrible, the black face image was totally cracked and unreadable. And it's all rusted on the stud here. But you'd press it and you could just feel it, like almost like it was shocking you. It did not feel good at all. But we got it all set up. Now let's just push it into place. Well, back to square one basically. Figured out you can't put the gauge cluster here in unless the dash is out. And I don't think you can take it out unless the dash is out. Unless you want to drop the steering column. So we've done all this work so far without dropping the steering column, so might as well just keep at it as is without having to drop it. So took this out, we're putting that on. Now we'll shimmy this back on into place. Now we just got to be careful because we have this in. But I did go ahead and hook up the speedometer cable and the harness for the gauges here. So we're good to go there. Let's just put it back in. Lots of progress so far. As you see, we got our dash fully in. We have our gauges all good. I have the washer wiper, the headlights. I can work on the glove box. We got the vents in. We even got this one in because this one did not fit with all the aftermarket alarm wiring. So we got it hooked up finally. It's loose, but it's in there. So I put the A-pillars on. We had a casualty. This chipped. And honestly, this was my bad. I just installed it wrong. It's supposed to hook in to a lip here. You're supposed to hook that in first and then slide it down. Well, I slid it down and then I tried punching it to get the lip to hook over, and that just snapped it. So I totally messed that up. Luckily, if I have enough paint, I should be able to make that repair and we'll be okay. But it's in. Taking our attention to the back here, I want to put in the, first off, the tonneau cover back here. We got to put that in, and then I want to put in the cargo shade, the big swooping C-shaped thing. We got to put that in before we put everything else in. Not necessary, but I think it's going to make it a little bit easier, so we might as well do that now. So tackling this, so here we have the rear cargo shade, and so this is attached with 5 bolts, has a bolt, washer, and then on mine it was this rubber thing and then a nut. So this rubber nut thing is supposed to be what's called a weld nut or an expansion nut. It's one piece, and we picked up a couple of them to try it out. Now they sell specific ones for this cargo shade thing, but just ran over to the hardware store and picked up some. This is the size, 1/4 inch by 20, and this length seems to be right. We'll find out. But already fit this into the hole, and it's a perfect fit. So here's one hole where it's going to go into, another one back there, and then 2 more on this side, and then in the corner there. So the way it works is we'll fill the bolt and the washer through the hole, then we'll take the well nut this way with the flange side towards the bolt, screw it in a little bit, and then we just line it up, tighten it down, and this is supposed to expand to lock it into place. Let's see if it works. Got the glove box back in. Ignore my dirty fingerprints all over it. Started putting this on, but I think I'm going to work on putting the sunshade in. So now that we got the cargo cover here installed, let's put the rear sunshade in. That's the big plastic C-shaped piece. And that went in super easy. So you start at an angle. I think it's easier to do the left side. So you do the left side first, and then you hook the right side in. You kind of gotta bend it a little bit to fit it, but that fit in pretty good. I think it helped because I don't have the seat belts in or any other pieces in. But man, that's starting to come together good. So we'll get some screws in it. It's very dusty, but we'll wait to wipe it down until we get everything in. So I managed to get this side riveted on. This is my first time riveting anything, so it's interesting. It's not as hard as I thought. It's pretty simple. So looking on this side, and yes, these pieces were painted, same with 415. So we lined it up. I got the screw things holding in here for the T-top rear mount. Okay, I'm going to take my rivet gun, the cheap Harbor Freight one, line up my 1/4 inch rivet, so just like that. I'll press it in. Okay, and now before I cut the tip off and seal it, I'm going to take the other one in, now that it's lined up. Make sure we get this one lined up good too, which we do. Press it in. Okay, now let's cut the bits off. And just like that, we have it riveted in. That was super simple, super easy, and it came out pretty good. Alright, we have all the interior panels back in. So it's starting to look like a car again. Let's throw in the carpet. I already vacuumed up and cleaned up the mess that was down here, so we'll throw on the carpet. And as you see, we got the carpet in and got the rear carpet in as well. So we are making good progress. Gonna do the side panels, and then I think we're ready to put the seats in. I have to put the seat belt buckles in as well. And then the steering wheel, almost there. Well, the Corvette is back on the ground, first time in a couple months now. And so we have the interior all together, even got the T-tops on. And you already saw the back side, but it's looking all put together. We got the steering wheel. We painted more of the column here and the horn, and it looks a lot better. So only thing left to do is start it up. I got the battery charging. The battery might be time for a new battery, which sucks because I bought a new battery like 3 years ago for this car. But let's throw that battery in, probably put a jumper on, see if it starts. It is raining, but we're not going to let that stop us. I hooked up the battery. I got the jumper on standby. Jumper's not connected. Let's see if this battery has enough juice. Alright, it's going to take a couple cranks to get gas in. Come on, battery. Oh, I don't think the battery has enough. Let's give it a jump. Take 2 with the jumper hooked up. Let's see. Alright, we are back with a new battery. We upgraded to the 2-year warranty one instead of the 1-year warranty. The one here got us 3 years, so hopefully this gets us twice that. Alright, let's crank it over. We should have enough power now. Oh yeah. We are running. First start in a while. My tack, it looks like the tack is working. Yes, that's never worked. So all the work we did on the gauge cluster seems to be working still. Awesome. Man, it sounds good to hear this car run again. It's been a while. It's awesome. So I'll let it warm up to temp, let the alternator do its thing again. Just get it warmed up again, basically, but we won't be able to drive it since it's raining and I don't really feel like playing musical cars right now. Now, when I was installing the gauge cluster, I accidentally touched the needle and I was afraid of that, and now it's out of calibration. So I'm gonna have to recalibrate it. It's saying we're idling about like 700, but I don't think that's true. But it is moving up and down, which is great. So I'll take a tack gun and show you how I calibrate that. Let's calibrate the tachometer here again. So I got the lens off and we'll be able to touch this. And I got my timing light with the tachometer on here. Don't know how accurate this is, but I think this will be a very good ballpark. So just turning the key to the on position to give it power. We want to make sure this points at 0. We got the tach zeroed in at 0 with the key in the on position. Now let's start it up. And so this says 850, this says 12. This is showing 7. This is showing much higher. So we need this to go down a little bit. Okay, there we go. So we're about 900, and that looked about right. If I hold at 15, we're at, oh, there we go. That's 15 right there. So we seem to be holding pretty close, like within 100 RPM, which I'm okay with. So 950 and about 950 there. So I think that's good. Let's call it there. All right, it's a few days later. Ended up having a bad PCB for the center instrument cluster. So what was happening was the lights were turning on, but none of the gauges worked, and they kind of worked. So what really happened was there was a short in here, a short to ground, causing the ground signal to get messed up. And so the gauges would kind of turn on, but they wouldn't work any further than that. And then it turned into they were on all the time, lights on all the time, key buzzer on all the time. That's how you know it's a dead short. And then this just it never looked good. I mean, this was old anyways. So we replaced it with a new replacement, updated, whatever, and it seems to be working good now. We have working gauges. See, because once I turn the key on, it pops up to battery voltage. And so hopefully that's all it was for the fuel gauge. Maybe the fuel gauge will start working, because this was messed up. But I don't think so. I think we have more problems with that. But so far so good with at least fixing this. Alright, that's gonna be it. The car's all back together, it runs, all the gauges are working again. I put on the little knob here that I purchased for this washer wiper switch. Everything's looking good. Now, just to end it off on a few things that kind of need to be done regardless, and just how this process went. The gauge bezel here, I need a new one. It cracked worse, so bad where I can't even fit a screw in on that side anymore. So I need at least a new bezel here. Yeah, it needs a dash. There's no doubt about it, but at least it's all the same color and it's clean now. well, for the most part. I got to wipe it down again. I wanted to paint these, but ran out of paint, so I won't get to that till a while from now. Obviously, this needs to be painted as well. It's a different color. But besides some of those little things, bigger thing would be like the center console. All the tabs are broken, so it doesn't bolt in at all. It's only being held in by the wiring harness for the HVAC up there, and then the shifter. But the shifter boot's ripped. This thing is ripped. The handle on the parking brake is ripped. This doesn't bolt in because that's broken. A few things going on. We still had the turn signal switch that I want to repair, but not yet. Now on the back side, I need to install the latches for these 3-door compartments. I have them. They're not great condition, but I have them. That's the only reason I haven't put them on yet, because they're not that good condition. So we'll have to see if we can clean it up and mount everything together. Now, to end it off, the back side, we need to put in speaker grills, or speakers, and then a grill over it. The carpet's not really held in at all. It's just kind of held in by friction, but once I start driving, it's going to go. There's 2 long screws on each side that are stuck. So I'm going to need to get them out with some vice grips or something, but that's for another time. The interesting part that I really like is this handle for the cargo shade cover. It works, and that is the second time that's came out in over 20 years. It's filthy, so it needs a good wash, but that's awesome. Now, the biggest improvement from these couple videos I've done on redoing the interior has been this rear shade trim piece, painting it black. Before, the paint was peeling off, it kept getting mold on it, and it looks so much better now. But all of our panels, even though we repaired them, it was okay. We have a crack that returned here. It overall just was mediocre. But at least they're all the same shade of oyster now, and I think that is a great improvement. I need to go through all the screws and put in new hardware everywhere, and there's missing hardware in a lot of places. All little things that can be done down the line. But thanks for watching. Let me know what else you think I should do on the interior to help improve it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.